You go to bed feeling completely normal. No pain, no headaches, no warning signs whatsoever. But by the next morning, something is deeply wrong. One side of your face feels frozen. Your arm won't move. Your voice is slurred. And when you try to call out to the person next to you, all that comes out are incoherent, broken sounds. This isn't a nightmare. It's a silent stroke, and it happened while you were asleep. The most frightening part? It came without any warning. It wasn't triggered by smoking. It wasn't due to high blood sugar. It came from what seems like a harmless habit, eating a small handful of nuts before bedtime. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? Nuts are constantly promoted as heart-healthy, brain-boosting superfoods. But for those over the age of 60, things aren't that simple anymore. The aging body no longer processes fats, sodium, or minerals the same way it did in your 30s or 40s. What once qualified as a superfood can quietly become a hidden threat, especially when consumed at the wrong time of day, particularly after 8 p.m. According to data from the American Stroke Association, over 25% of strokes in older adults occur while they're sleeping. And the cause isn't just age. It's the combination of overnight biological changes. Blood pressure rises, blood becomes more viscous, and aging arteries can no longer absorb pressure the way they once did. When all of this is combined with a late-night snack, especially one containing the wrong type of nut, your risk of stroke can spike dramatically without you ever realizing it. That's why in today's video, I'm going to walk you through 5 popular types of nuts that may seem healthy, but if eaten after 8 p.m., could silently damage your brain. And the first on the list? Rich in antioxidants, but also capable of thickening your blood like syrup, is the Brazil nut.
Part 1. Brazil nuts. I used to believe Brazil nuts were a superfood until I saw a patient wake up from a stroke and his wife said he only ate 3 nuts before bed. Brazil nuts are often praised for being rich in selenium and antioxidants, beneficial for thyroid function and immune health. But here's what most people don't know. Just 2 Brazil nuts contain over 200 micrograms of selenium, nearly 400% of the daily recommended limit for older adults, which is only 55 micrograms, according to the U.S. National Institutes of Health, or NIH. Selenium is an essential trace mineral, but when consumed in excess, it doesn't flush out easily like vitamin C. Instead, it silently accumulates in the liver, in the bloodstream, and even in the brain. When eaten at night, a time when the liver and kidneys are less active, blood becomes thicker and circulation slows. This surplus selenium increases platelet stickiness, making blood clots more likely to form. A 2025 study of over 39,000 U.S. adults, published in Scientific Reports, Nature, revealed a surprising pattern. When selenium intake exceeded 135 micrograms per day, the risk of stroke and cardiovascular disease actually began to rise again rather than fall. And here's what many overlook. Selenium doesn't just come from nuts. Many seniors take multivitamins or bone supplements containing selenium and then add Brazil nuts as a healthy bedtime snack. That's risk stacking on top of risk. So if you're over 60, remember this: 1 Brazil nut a day is enough, and it's best consumed in the morning when your body has time to metabolize and eliminate any excess.
Part 2. Salted almonds. There's no denying that almonds are rich in magnesium, healthy fats, and antioxidants. But when they're roasted and salted, especially when eaten in the evening, they can quietly trigger a spike in blood pressure while you sleep. Just one small handful, about 20 almonds, contains 200 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly 20% of the daily recommended sodium intake for older adults, according to the American Heart Association. But here's the reality. Very few people stop at just one handful. Once you start, the crunchy, salty flavor often leads to 2, even 3 handfuls without noticing. Suddenly, you've consumed over 500 to 600 milligrams of sodium right before bedtime. So what exactly happens while you're asleep? Salt causes your body to retain fluid inside your blood vessels, increasing blood volume and raising blood pressure, especially between 3 and 5 a.m., when arteries, already stiffened with age, can no longer adapt easily to pressure shifts. You won't feel it, no headache, no chest pain. But internally, the tiny blood vessels in your brain are enduring a stealthy pressure surge, making them more prone to leakage or microclots. If you're on blood pressure medication, diuretics, or dealing with kidney issues, this sodium spike isn't just a number. It's a direct assault on your circulatory system at the very time your brain is supposed to be resting and recovering. The fix? Choose raw, unsalted almonds, not roasted or flavored. Eat them in the morning or early afternoon with plenty of water. And avoid snacking after dinner, even if it's something you've always believed is heart healthy.
Part 3. Cashews. Cashews are a favorite snack among older adults, not as hard as almonds, not as bitter as walnuts, but they carry a hidden risk that few people talk about. Oxalates. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds found in many plant foods. When they enter the body, they bind to calcium and form calcium oxalate crystals, tiny sand-like fragments. If you're younger, your kidneys and blood vessels can likely handle the strain. But after age 60, as kidney filtration weakens and vascular inflammation becomes more common, these microscopic crystals can accumulate in the kidneys and even scratch blood vessel walls, increasing clotting and inflammation risks. A 2022 study published in the Clinical Kidney Journal found that people with high oxalate intake had a 2.6 times greater risk of chronic kidney disease, especially when combined with low calcium intake or inadequate hydration. The danger increases further when cashews are consumed at night, a time when the body is mildly dehydrated, physical movement slows, and kidney filtration drops. This is when oxalates are more likely to accumulate and blood becomes thicker, creating the perfect storm for clot formation or microvascular damage in the brain. If you're taking diuretics, have a history of kidney stones, or struggle with high blood pressure, eating cashews before bed is not just a light snack. It may be a silent strike on your circulatory system. The solution? If you enjoy cashews, eat them during the day, preferably after breakfast or lunch. Stay well hydrated throughout the day. Or switch to low oxalate alternatives like pumpkin seeds or macadamia nuts. But the danger doesn't stop here. The next nut may look small, but it combines 3 dangerous elements: sodium, inflammatory fats, and the unconscious snacking habit we all fall into while watching TV. That nut is the sunflower seed.
Part 4. Sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds may seem like the perfect snack, small, crunchy, easy to eat, and low in sugar. But if you're over 60, they may actually be one of the most dangerous nuts to eat at night because they combine 3 silent risk factors for stroke. High sodium content. Many packaged sunflower seeds are heavily salted. Just one small handful, about 30 grams, can contain 250 to 300 milligrams of sodium, even more if flavored with smoked or seasoned varieties. When eaten mindlessly, your sodium intake can easily exceed 700 milligrams, a dangerous load, especially if you're taking blood pressure meds or diuretics. Excess omega-6 fats. Sunflower seeds are rich in omega-6 fatty acids. While necessary in small amounts, An imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 can trigger inflammatory responses, weakening blood vessel walls, particularly dangerous for seniors with atherosclerosis or stiff arteries. Mindless snacking during TV time. Unlike larger nuts, sunflower seeds are often eaten continuously, especially while watching TV. This creates a habit of unconscious overeating right during the vulnerable window between 8 p.m. and midnight, when blood pressure regulation begins to falter. The result? Between 3 and 5 a.m., when blood pressure naturally fluctuates, fragile brain capillaries may no longer hold up. Microbleeds, silent inflammation, or even tiny clots may form, all sparked by a snack you assumed was harmless. The solution? Choose dry-roasted, unsalted pumpkin seeds or soaked chia seeds instead. Avoid all nuts labeled smoked, seasoned, or sea salted in the evening. Most importantly, don't snack while watching TV. Eat mindfully, in moderation, and only during the day. Now let's talk about walnuts. Often hailed as a brain food thanks to their rich omega-3s, polyphenols, and anti-inflammatory compounds. They support memory, reduce Alzheimer's risk, and promote heart health. But here's what few people are warned about. Because walnuts are so nutrient-dense, your body needs significant energy to digest them. And that becomes a serious problem when eaten late at night, just as your body and brain are entering their most critical recovery phase.
Part 5. Walnuts. Brain food at the wrong time. Formula: PAS plus scientific data plus practical guidance plus emotional close. Walnuts are often hailed as the ultimate brain food, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, polyphenols, and anti-inflammatory compounds that support memory, reduce Alzheimer's risk, and promote cardiovascular health. But here's something few are warned about. Because walnuts are so nutrient-dense, your body needs significant energy and blood flow to properly digest them. And that becomes a real problem when eaten at night, the very time your body and brain are entering their most critical repair cycle. When you eat walnuts late, blood is redirected to the digestive system to process fats, which means less oxygen and nutrients reach the brain, right when it needs them most to restore neurons, flush toxins, and stabilize pressure inside the skull. Worse, digesting fats at night can trigger a rise in cortisol, the stress hormone that disrupts deep sleep, which is essential for cognitive health and blood pressure control. A 2023 study in the journal Sleep Health found that consuming high-fat foods within 2 hours before bed increased the risk of sleep disturbances by 1.8 times and caused elevated cortisol levels at 3 a.m., the peak vulnerability window for the brain. The solution: eat walnuts in the morning or early afternoon when digestion is optimal. Avoid eating any high-fat snacks 2 to 3 hours before bed. And if you're looking to improve sleep quality, try a low-fat, tryptophan-rich option like soaked chia seeds instead. So if even healthy nuts can backfire, what's the right way to eat after 60? In the conclusion, I'll show you how to eat with your brain in mind, not against it, and share 3 safe evening snack combos to replace your late-night nut habit. You've just learned about 5 types of nuts, all widely considered healthy, and they are, when eaten the right way at the right time. Because after 60, what silently damages the brain isn't a sudden violent headache, it's a small repeated habit carried out in silence. You don't need to give up nuts. You just need to understand how your body has changed. Your blood is no longer as fluid as it was at 30. Your arteries don't expand and contract as easily. Your brain needs deep, uninterrupted sleep to restore itself and fight off micro-damage. But if you eat the wrong nuts, high in salt, selenium, oxalates, or fats, right before bed, you're robbing your brain of its natural repair system. So how can you snack without putting your brain at risk? 3 safe snack combos after age 60 before 8 p.m.
1 tablespoon of soaked chia seeds plus 1 small banana. High in tryptophan, supports deep sleep and doesn't raise blood pressure. Unsalted macadamia or pumpkin seeds plus 1 cup warm water. Low oxalates, healthy fats, won't retain excess water. Low-fat Greek yogurt plus a few walnuts, afternoon only. Aids digestion, adds omega-3s without triggering nighttime cortisol. Don't let seemingly harmless habits become the reason you don't wake up tomorrow. Remember, eating the right foods is only part of the equation. Eating them at the right time with an understanding of how your body has changed, that's what determines whether you age longer or stronger. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do it now. This is where you'll find honest, science-backed insights told with the respect you deserve, because you're entering the most important chapter of life, living long and living wisely.